You're welcome back to Newsfile. This is your most authoritative news analysis platform, brought to you by the candid sponsorship of Bank of Africa. Strong as a group and close as a partner, MTN everywhere you go. Ashasi University, educating ethical and entrepreneurial leaders for Africa. Consolidated Bank Ghana, we stand with you. Duraplus, where Duraplus goes, water flows. We lead, we build home for you. Star Assurance, your solid partner, and Rehoboth Properties. Now, let me welcome from the West Africa Examinations Council, Agnes Te Kujo, Head of Public Affairs. Thank you for making time to join us, Madam.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Great. So first, we would like to know, because now we know that some punishments have been taken by the Ghana Education Service. 14 students from Secondary College, 3 of them, Cheneboa Kodia Senior High School, 3 students there, Bator Senior High School, about 4 or 5 of them there, and then at Jabing Senior High School, you have about 2 others who have all been dismissed, and in addition to the dismissal, been barred from participating any further in the exams. That apart, all students who are said to have been found to have been engaged in the destruction of property are to be surcharged for the full cost of the damage, and their results will be upheld until they have made the full payment. Now, question is, do we know from what the GES has the authority to give these sanctions? If we read the West African Examinations Council's Act 2006, you are empowered to take such sanctions. The law before then, the PNDC law, empowered you also to take some of these sanctions for the assault to invigilators or people you send to these centers. But has the GES got that power to do so?
Well, first of all, let me say that this is a school examination, and these candidates are the candidates of schools. And these schools are managed by the Ghana Education Service.
Okay.
So the Ghana Education Service also has disciplinary authority when it gets to actions that go on in these schools. So the GES, I believe, have the power to do that because they needed to calm down and clamp down on all the unruly behavior that was going on in the schools. Now, these candidates have been asked to leave the schools, and also those who have sports or property have been asked to pay for that. And I believe that these sanctions are according to the rules that the GES has.
In terms of de-recognizing the Brights, that school is the Bright Academy. Is it the GES that has done the de-recognition and relocated the exam center to Ofori-Penying, is it? Or it is the WAEC that has done so?
It's WAEC.
So how come you say the exam is for the schools? I don't know whether you
came across the press. I didn't get your question.
You said it is a school exam.
I'm saying that, yes, but the relocation of Bright Senior High School to Ofori-Penying was done by WAEC. Yesterday, we issued a statement signed by the head of national office saying that because of all the activities that went on at the Bright Senior High School on Thursday, the 6th of August, the council strongly condemned the behavior of the proprietor and the candidates. And in order to ensure the integrity of the examination and safeguard the lives of exam officials, we decided to relocate the school, the center from Bright Senior High School to Oforipin. And that is not the first time. Whenever WAEC is conducting exams and we see that there are certain malpractices or certain things that are going on at a particular center, that does not guarantee the safety of our exam officials. WAEC can decide to move the center from one place to the other.
Yeah, so my question then is, if you can do this, then it's your exam, not the school's exam, right?
When I say it's a school examination, what I mean is that, you know, we have the private candidates exam, was popularly called NOVDEC. Right. So that one was totally under the purview of the council, where we were the ones who appointed supervisors and vigilators and did all that. You understand me? But when I say that this is a school exam, I mean that WAEC is conducting the examination on behalf of the Ghana Education Service. Okay. With the private candidates exam, it's totally, I mean, the GES has nothing to do with that. It is totally a private candidates exam, and it is WAEC that undertakes everything in connection with that examination.
All right. So as we gather from the decision taken by the Ghana Education Service, apart from the dismissal, it says that they have been barred from writing the current examination in their schools. WAEC, by your law, has also the power to cancel the entire results of the candidates and perhaps prohibits them from taking an exam for not less than 2 years. Are you minded to take any further sanctions?
I think that any further sanction that the council will take, we'll have to send our report to our committee, the Ghana Examinations Committee. Will present the report, and then they give us the go-ahead to take any further sanctions against the candidates or against the school. So what happens is that during the course of this examination, any cases of malpractices that are recorded or any cases of irregularities that are recorded, we compile all of these, we carry out our investigations, and then we send the report to the Ghana Examinations Committee, and the Ghana Examinations Committee gives us the approval to take actions on the recommendations that we present to the committee.
Again, your law empowers you to actually refer the matter to the police for purposes of taking them to court, and if they are found guilty, they could go to jail for 18 months maximum, and they could be paying between 1,200 and 2,400. Are you minded that it is your officers, as in the invigilators and so on, who may have been manhandled in these circumstances, to proceed on this path?
I think you may recall that following the incident that occurred at the Bright Senior High School, a formal complaint has been made by our officers who were involved at the police station. So we'll be following through with that.
Okay. The Ghana Education Service said in paragraph 4 of its statement that all acts of vandalism and other criminal acts should be reported to the security agencies for further investigation and follow-up. Even before that, it suggested that it is referring the matters to the security agencies for further investigation. So are you going to coordinate as institutions, or you are both going to do your work towards discipline and punishment separately?
Well, whatever action that we take, you know, the chairman of the board or the chairman of our committee is the Director General of the Ghana Education Service. And whatever action that the council takes, WAEC needs to make any complaint on its own, we'll do that. Where we need to collaborate with the GS to make sure that any action that is taken is swift or that we need support when it gets to investigations and all that, we'll do that. So it depends on the nature of the irregularity and the kind of support that the council will need. Okay.
Finally, do you suspect that the GES may be going ahead of you in the manner it is approaching things? You, the WAEC, may have the guidance of what the court has had to caution you against before about proceeding to sanction students without taking them through a disciplinary process.
Like I said, taking action when it gets to discipline in schools, WAEC cannot do that because that one is done by the Ghana Education Service. Now, when it gets to cases of irregularity, that is where the council comes in, and then we present our reports to our board, that's the Ghana Exams Committee, and then they give us the approval to take the necessary sanctions. Now, if the Ghana Education Service has asked the candidates who have destroyed property to be surcharged for that, I believe that it is in the right direction, and I believe that that could be part of the rules or the regulations that govern the various schools. So I think that the Ghana Education Service is taking the proper action. Now, when it gets to the candidates who have been barred from taking the examination, there are other opportunities that exist for such candidates. We have the private candidates exam that is coming up, so they can also take they can also register and take that examination.
Okay. My final question to you would be, you have rules and regulations governing the exams. And I think your last rules and regulations, 2016, is what is still in force. It spells out all the do's and don'ts during the examination. Do you take the students through these before they take the exam so that they are minded perhaps not to, conduct themselves in the way we have seen against your invigilators and inspectors?
We do. Every year we carry out sensitization programs. We visit the schools. We talk to the candidates. We give them tips on passing their examinations. Even before this current examination, we have printed posters that we have sent to the schools. And we've also sent every head of school a soft copy of these do's and don'ts, because as I could not go to the schools and engage directly with the candidates. So we sent this material to the schools, and we asked all heads of school to engage with the candidates and let them know the rules and regulations. We also have a document that is titled Direction to Candidates, and this also spells out the rules and the regulations for conducting WAEC examinations. So the candidates are in the know, and they have all these rules and regulations. The supervisors, the heads of schools, and all the authorities in the school also have these rules and regulations. We also carry out briefing sessions before every examination for the supervisors, and at these briefing sessions, they are told what is expected of them. We also use that opportunity to highlight our rules and what they need to pass on to the candidates. So I'll say that the candidates are well informed, and if the candidates are engaging in any form of malpractice, it is not because they do not have the needed information.
Okay, I said finally, but if I may ask you this finally. In 2017, the NCCE, National Commission for Civic Education, conducted a public opinion on corruption, accountability, and environmental governance. It spoke to about 9,000 respondents across the country. And when they were asked the question, places where perceived corruption happened, you had 18.2% pointing to schools. 18.2% pointing to schools. There are stories that are being told about particular schools where they clearly buy, they are poor, so to speak. And so that explains why consistently their students get straight A's all throughout and all of that. Are you aware of some of these things, and what have you been doing about them?
I'm not aware about the reports that you are talking about schools buying apple, because I don't know where they are buying that apple that you are talking about from. But we know that we have, in the course of the examination, we report cases of malpractices in some schools. You know, we cannot say that these are the particular schools that we record malpractices. But we have, every year before we release our results, we come out with statistics on examination malpractices, and then we state the kind of malpractices that occurred in these schools. And there are times, I'll say that collusion that was detected in scripts is about the highest form of malpractice that we come across. Last year, for example, that was the highest malpractice.
Okay, I think we lost Agnes Kujo there. Thank you very much, Agnes Kujo, Head of Public Affairs, West African Examinations Council, WAEC. Thank you very much. Let me get your comments, starting with you, Bright, about what has transpired. And there's a whole politics of it. You know, some are saying the children were over-pampered and they are expecting certain things that they didn't get the expectation. Well, the majority of them wrote this exam in a very peaceful atmosphere in the normal, you know, comportment.
It looks like this has been one of the one particular instance of these exams where we've had a lot of agitations in schools directly targeting the exam. Part of that was because the way and manner in which we ask students to come back and write the exams in the normal way did not involve sufficient consultations, I think. I think there was a sense in which, you know, there were a lot of people against it, and, you know, that some time should have been spent to try and build some consensus. So there may be some residual anger among people who thought that in the heat of the agitation, maybe the government will back down. And the fact that the government has not backed down, has gone ahead to conduct elections, has frustrated some students. The exams have frustrated the students. So that might account for some of it. But I wanted to pay more attention because this is just speculation. So on the area in which there is more evidence, I want to spend a bit more time on which is the issue of discipline in schools. I was a student leader in secondary school. And one of the things that I realized even then was that there was a concerted effort by school administrations to decimate student leadership. So the student representative councils were then independent. The Greater Accra Regional SRC was independent. And every effort was made to decimate that independence, to make that impossible, by making the student leaders appointed by the administration. Because when I was in school, the administration had little role to play in how the students were elected. So they needed legitimacy from the students, which meant they needed to exercise real leadership, build confidence, etc. The process has been ongoing now for about 2 decades, where systematically the student representative councils exist only in name. There's almost no student leadership at the secondary school level today. What happens is the administration chooses who they want, appoint them as prefects, and then claim that they are also the representative of the students. I think that has created a context in which students, whenever they have a problem, do not feel that one of the mechanisms for resolving those problems is dialogue. Because there's no mechanism. You know, the student representative councils have been completely destroyed in this country. I think this is a huge, huge contributory factor over the last decade in terms of violence in schools. The other point I want to make quickly is also that when it comes to disciplinary reform in schools, in 2017, we decided to ban corporal punishment finally. I mean, there's been a whole bunch of incidents. And we decided to introduce positive behavior management. There is a group at the University of Development Studies headed by Mohammed Gun Ibrahim that has done a lot of work in this area. And the outcome is that there's a skills gap among teachers to implement these new disciplinary reforms. So while we are banning corporal punishment, we are now using more and more school exclusion instead of actual attempts to reorient the students, teach ethics and things like that. So I think positive behavior management has to be looked at.
Yes or no? The punishment meted out to them harsh?
Well, school exclusions have been shown by this Richard I'm pointing out as not a very effective approach. So no, because the evidence suggests that
the punishment is not harsh.
No, it's harsh, but it's not the right approach.
Okay, thank you. Now let's have Dr. Akwete, a few comments. You know, the NCC, for example, issued a statement on this, and they look at the bigger picture the bigger picture. And there are people like Professor Kekwaza Asari who also looks at it from having students at that age even insult the president. And a lot of reference is being made to that. The statements issued by the GES and the rest, they are appalled that students can do this thing. And some are saying, what are the politicians doing? The students have been watching.
Frankly, it is. It is. I mean, what is good for the goose is good for the gander. I mean, we're supposed to set good examples to the students, but our political culture has been, the students view it. Students of today are very smart because of their access to information and technology, global and so on. And they see whatever goes on. My question then, what I like the idea that they did wrong, they were punished, but I'm not sure if the punishment is is in proportion, but also whether it's a life sentence. You know, they dismissed, they are paying, they are doing this. And I said, fine, it's a sanction. You should not encourage impunity, must be dealt with. But in the bigger society, where they also observe when grown-ups are, what they are doing, these things don't happen. So you have a situation where there's some discrepancy and you don't understand the essence of this. Does it mean that it's a new standard being set where everywhere you do things that you shouldn't do, whether you're insulting the president or you're behaving in a way that is not, there's action, especially when it has to do with violence. I think the violent aspect is part of what they're trying to deal with. But why don't we deal with it in the bigger society, and particularly in the political area?
Okay. I'm sorry, but we have run out of time.
Okay.
And like was suggested even before we came on air to discuss this matter, it is a very important issue as it deals with the leaders of this country tomorrow. So we definitely should find some time and look at all the facets of this particular issue. This has been Newsfile. Samson Ladia Anyanini. My guests have been Bright Simmons and Dr. Emmanuel Akwete. And of course, we spoke to others via Zoom. Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you.